Freaking out, man. You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth.
What do all men with power want? More power.
My name is Gianluca Zanna. I was an Italian by birth, and I became an American by choice. Our lives and freedoms are in danger. This is not a drill. If you're listening to this broadcasting, you are the resistance.
All systems go.
Welcome to Love, Guns, and Freedom. Here we go, guys. Another Sunday, another show. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna. Today is going to be another interesting show. I try always to bring you facts and news that normally mainstream media doesn't bring you. And of course, the first hour, the purpose of this hour, is about freedom, to understand exactly what's going on in our country. We already heard the last few weeks, I talk about it, and of course you also follow the mainstream media also following the situation, what's happening in Burns, Oregon. The Bundy's brothers doing this standoff in this sort of a wildlife refuge, considered federal property. There is a lot of much more going on. I mean, it's like almost a soap opera. Unfortunately, this is not just an entertainment. This is real. And I'm really concerned people may get hurt. And I'm concerned that something's going to go out of control. But you know, I am not there, but I had a guy that has been there a few times, and I know that he's following up very close what's going on. His name is Eric Parker from the 3%ers group in Idaho, and I'm sure he got some updates for us. Eric, are you here?
Yeah.
Hi,
okay.
Eric. How are you there, first of all? Did you go lately to Burns, Oregon again?
Yeah, we've been there as an organization the past three weeks.
And
so I've been there off and on.
Yeah, I know that you were there one time. I mean, you'd been several times. Originally, I want to remind the people, you were there when there was the original peaceful protest, when the Hammonds family were going to jail just a couple of days before. You did a march with other fellow Americans, and then something happened. The Hammond and the brothers, Hammond, Bundy's, decided to go to take over this federal facility. And then from there, many more things happen. I know that the 3%ers went to speak with the FBI. I watched the video. You give me pretty much the latest news, maybe a summary of what's going on there, please.
So we originally got back involved to try to get communication going between the parties involved. What we saw was the FBI and the Sheriff's Department communicating, but nobody was communicating with the folks out on the refuge. And so we went to all three sides with a document and tried to get them to read it and kind of start talking about a peaceful resolution. It was called the Article of Resolution. So that happened, and there's been some talk. It didn't necessarily have anything to do with the Article of Resolution, but there is now talk. They are talking. There's a lot of video out there, so I'm sure people have seen a lot of the video going around. The first initial contact we had with the FBI, they really seemed like they weren't looking to move in on the situation. Their general outlook on it was nobody was being threatened, nobody was being hurt, so there was no threat of anybody being hurt, so they weren't really being too quick to do anything except occupy the airport there and drive around town. We thought that was good, and what we really just don't want to see is any kind of heavy-handed going into the refuge. Those guys are peaceful. I know the media is saying they're armed and they're crazy militia, but really they're just occupying. It's no different than the Occupy movement that we saw.
Question only, Eric, just a second. First of all, the situation is the FBI is there right now. I don't know exactly how many agents, but seems like to be enough big deployments, and they're not going to be there forever. I mean, these people, after all, we are paying them. And I heard that somehow they took over a public school. Is that true? The school of the town?
There is a couple schools in the town. I think school has been, I'm pretty sure all the kids are going back to school. They did take over a building that was a school. So there's a lot of internet stuff going around too.
That's why I wanted to ask you.
The FBI are staging out of the county building where the sheriff's department is and out of the airport.
Okay.
So they also, since we've talked to the FBI, and we thought that they weren't going to really do anything besides have a presence, but since that conversation, they have escalated. They brought in a lot more people. It went from probably 25 people to, there's some accounts of saying 200 now.
Wait a second. Now, you tell me that now at this wildlife refuge, there are like about 200 people from the originally 25 people that with the bandits, and Finicum were there?
No, I'm referring to the FBI.
Oh, the FBI.
Originally, the FBI only had a small team there, and now they're definitely escalating their presence, and they brought in their surgical team and occupied the top floor of the hospital in Burns. They seem to be ready for a shootout. So this is
pretty serious. This is pretty disturbing because when you start to bring this type of people, then they cannot be there on standby forever. I mean, these people, after all, cost. Okay, even if it's the federal government, they don't care so much about spending our money, but it's still something that they wouldn't put it out unless they have intention to use it. What do you think? What do you think is happening right now?
I do think that they're escalating their presence. It's worrisome to us. Because what you're saying is right. They can't keep 200 people at the airport and a staff of surgical team at the hospital.
I supposed to have talked to Hammond Bundy, but he wrote me a couple instant messages that disappear. I don't know, because maybe he heard my opinion on this one. And, as much as I supported him in the past during the first, official standoff with his family in Nevada and Mesquite, on this one I have a different opinion. I don't know if you heard my analysis just a couple of weeks ago. And I wanted just to reiterate it briefly. As much as I understand what the Hammond family, I think, is an injustice, a travesty, to be sentenced and tried twice, a double jeopardy right there. Forget about the cows and the cattle and the fire. They were right there. We're supposed to talk about the constitutionally and the legality of the act. And we know that there is a plan to take over all that land, not just their land. And it's a sort of a collusion. But regardless that, I also said, if there is no will from the locals, in this case the Hammond themselves, to fight back, you cannot force them to even stand up when they don't want to stand up. And more important, sometimes, we the people, as local militia, it's almost tough to think that we need to drive a few hundred miles and do something that the locals supposed to do. And when you realize that their community, correct me if I'm wrong, most of the people work for the federal government, at least 50%, I understand that they work for the BLM or some sort of agencies, it's tough for them they're already pretty much domesticated. But more important, what I really was concerned, I was all for the peaceful march that you did and try to create awareness and trying to put the seed of leadership in the local community. But when you give the opportunity to lose the moral high ground and to do, even if that property supposedly it's our property because it's it's federal, supposed to be for the people paid by our tax dollar, but still there are laws in the book that you are trespassing, and if you're trespassing armed on a federal property that I don't know the details, but could be an excuse for them to press you with some charges for sure. It's not like anymore they're stealing your cows and you're defending your home. You're going in a very difficult position, isolated, surrounded with no resources, with no even the support of the local people. that is important in every type of operation, even just we're talking about here trying to win the hearts and minds of the people. Don't you think this is a kind of a very dangerous scenario that maybe it should have been thought better? What is your opinion on that one? You think Hammond did right doing what he did, or maybe it was something too impulsive in your opinion?
So that day when we were having the rally, the peaceful rally, at the end when Ammon was fracturing off and talking about going to the refuge and making a hard stand, he asked me to come and bring my guys with me, and I had to tell him pretty much just what you said, that when I went to Nevada with some friends of mine, it was about a clear act of aggression that was being put out, and there was clear acts of violations of the Constitution too, which there is here too, and he showed me that. But I still had to tell him, I'm not gonna go do that. And having said that, it's all done now. He is there, and I do agree with the issues of the bureaucracies and their interpretations of law and what they're doing to the people out there. So we kind of, whether or not I agree with how it went down and how it happened, the fact is that there is a big issue that needs to be addressed. So that's why we as the 3% of Idaho went back, was because we left after the rally. We went home to Idaho and kind of regrouped and talked it out amongst our leadership and thought, well, what do we do now? And all we can really do now is try to be active in the community, and that's what we've done. We've gone to a lot of their community meetings. We've started digging into some of the local corruption going on there, and we've really tried to reach out to the locals and let them know that no matter what happens, we're still here for the community, like we said in the beginning. They're doing a lot of things now with their common law stuff. The common law grand jury just was formed, and they are going to start looking at a lot of these documents that people have been coming forward with, and a lot of these grievances.
My only point now, see, all this, for me, it's all fine. You do the common law, you do the local groups and the committee, that's great. But when you give to a federal agency that we know very well that is controlled in Washington, okay? Even the local agents may sound reasonable, and maybe they may also be sympathetic, and may also they be decent people, okay? But the point is, they're just pawns. They follow the orders. And unfortunately, we know very well what type of corruption we have in Washington. What is their final agenda? They're taking over private properties because we have proofs that they're trying to give them to corporations for mineral rights and different type of deals, like was the China Corporation in Nevada for the Bundys. We know we had proofs that Senator Reid's son was working for this solar farm. So there is a lot of corruption. By the end of the day, today they'll focus on you broke the law. You broke into a private property, to a federal property, even worse, armed, and that's where they're trying to get them. And that's, that's for me, that's why I think that's why they could have got much more in a higher, stronger position without giving them the opportunity. I'm talking about Bundys and the 25 people that they're there, Finicum, instead, and now creating the scenario that they're going to be somehow we almost forget about all the other important issues, that they are the most important topics, the corruption and the Hammond being in jail. But the focus is going to be about 25 people breaking into some sort of a federal property, and the public opinion want to lynch them. And more important, the federal government will have the tools and the laws to go after them. And if they resist, they will shoot them. That's the bottom line, you know. And I appreciate what you've done with the 3%ers. I saw the video, you know, you guys tried to communicate with the FBI, and there was a kind of an interesting interaction, and to see regular citizens uniting and trying to create a communication and send a message, say this is not another wacko. That was powerful. But at the same time, you see, now what happened? Instead of 25 deputies or federal agents, you tell me now, for what I hear, we got 200 people. You know, it's going to be a very interesting story, and this is not the movie. I'm very concerned. Did you hear about the fire chief who found out, first of all, who resigned, and you know why he resigned? The local fire chief.
Yeah. So the first time I met him was at the first county public meeting that I attended in Burns, and he was when I first met him, he was very questioning of our presence there. He really didn't trust us, and he wanted to know what our agenda was and what we were trying to accomplish. We assured him that we were there about the Hammonds and the community and to empower the community, and we really got to know each other over the period of time that we've spent there. And what happened was somebody else from the community, and there was already all these rumors going around that the Patriots were following people around and harassing the community. So a member of the community came up to him and said, "Hey, you need to go figure out what your militia buddies are doing over by the armory." And he said, What are you talking about? And so he goes and he jumps in his car and he drives over there. He sees a car and a guy coming out from over by the armory, and gets in the car, and there's two people in the vehicle, drives away. He tails the car, and when it stops, he stops and goes up to him, and he starts talking to him, and he's asking them who they are and what they're doing over by the armory. And they tried to tell him they were looking at a buck over there, a deer walking. He told them it wasn't deer season, and he took a picture of their license plate.
Wow.
So he ran that license plate and found out that it was registered to the FBI.
Wow. Wow.
So, and then he went to this judge Gatsby or whatever. Everybody calls him Judge Nasty, but he goes to the judge, and the judge tells him, "You don't have the authority to be following anybody around, investigating anybody. You need to shut your mouth, and you need to stop going out to the refuge," and tries to basically put him in his place. He quit his job right there. He said, "I'm not going to work for somebody that is doing this sort of thing and not being transparent." And then he went right out to the refuge, and that's where that video happened.
Yeah, I saw that. I think it was very powerful, I think, for a very well-established member of that community. I think he's been a firefighter for more than 30 years in that community. He's a grown-up man. And first of all, to find
1983. That was the year I was born.
Wow.
1983.
Wow.
He started.
And all he was doing, he was asking questions. I think it's very important, especially when he sees suspicious people who are acting, according to what I heard, in a very rude way, or at least a suspicious way, and they're trying to act like they are a member of the group they call militia. Instead, now we found out that they were federal agents. I mean, in my book, that's called exactly agent provocateurs, if that's what they were doing.
It's exactly what it was. And it's probably, and that's exactly what's been going on in Burns. All the community situations where they feel they've been followed or whatever, and it's these outsiders. I'd bet all my money that every one of those situations is those FBI provocateurs.
But that was pretty much for sure. Now, my question is, you say armory, it is like, because, I live in a county too, but we don't have an armory. I mean, the sheriff has his own armory. But what is this, like an armory for the people? How does it work? I never heard that. What is the armory?
Yeah, it's an actual armory for the people.
Wow.
This is still very rural America out here, where, they, at the beginning of their meeting, they said a public prayer. They have an armory.
Okay, but and, everybody keep their weapons in their homes, right? Or there is like a place where
Oh yeah, they have their home weapons too, and everything else. But I'm not sure what's in that armory. I'm not
Interesting,
privy to that
interesting. Sound
information.
like
I'm not
almost
from Harney County.
yeah, very interesting. I never heard that. Something new. Anyway, so that's very important now. The reality now that, for what I see, this is coming to a point that I saw Ammon Bundy on video, official videos, that he was trying to talk to the FBI agents, but it was pretty much like a nonsense. He asked things that gonna be impossible to be reached, like correct me if I'm wrong, releasing the Hammonds and just getting away from leaving the land to the state or to the county, and that's not going to happen through this. At the same time, the FBI say whatever. I mean, what do you think? Any type of constructive communications between those two parties?
Constructive is a strong word. I think that the FBI are compelled to talk to him now because the governor of Oregon has said that they need to do something. She wrote a letter to Obama saying, hey, something needs to happen here and do something. So I think that triggered the negotiation team or man or whatever. As far as Cliven's demands, I think they're fair. The Constitution was broken, and the Hammonds need to be released.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Listen, I stand with you. The only thing now it's asking from a position of weakness, no power anymore, because when you were breaking no laws, or at least their laws, you have an opportunity to demand and to try to drive the public opinion behind you, like we did in Nevada. Now, instead, the focus is no more is demand. The focus is you trespass, you broke federal law or whatever they're trying to throw at him, and you are now a domestic terrorist. And you are occupying a facility that you're supposed not to. And we have the duty to remove you. That's now the focus. That's my fear. Now we change almost the conversation. Even, of course, I'm only wants to keep talking about that. But now that's not the point. The point that they want him out and they want to set an example. Very well. I mean, there is not a prescription. Excuse me. I forgot the name in English. When you expire, when you commit a crime, statutory expiration. How you call it? I forgot. Anyway, the point is, if they can find
statute of limitations.
Statute of limitations, exactly. If they have charges against him, they're not going to go away. Now they only want to pick the time when they want to get him. And my fear is...
and that's all true. I mean, it is. They've put themselves in a situation where they are going to, at the very least, go to jail, I imagine.
Yeah.
They're all pretty aware of that, what I can tell.
And you give them the chance to get revenge because they wanted to get them last year. They couldn't get them. Now they have the opportunity. And that's, for me, I don't know if it's stupidity or if maybe just a moment of weakness or maybe somebody behind is trying to give them bad advices. And I believe it could be a mix. What do you think?
Any of those things could definitely be true. And I'll be quite frank with you, Luca. When I was told about the plan there, and that was one of the main reasons I didn't go, was because what you had was a large group of people who they were already pretty mad at and pretty frustrated with, and to put them all in one place, breaking the law, technically breaking policy, whatever you want to call it, giving them an excuse is what we'll call it, right?
Exactly.
That wasn't the smart move to me in my mind. So I didn't put myself in it.
Also, from a strategic point of view, think about it. If you really want to do something that you think it's pushy or, let's say, risky, I mean, at least have a plan. I mean, you don't go with 25 people in the middle of winter that we know very well, even if people would like to reach you. You're in the middle of nowhere, Northwest America, isolated, decentralized. You put yourself outside from the public opinion. You're not even anymore in town. You are in a complete scenarios that consider like Ruby Ridge. That would be exactly the same situation. They can throw bombs at you and nobody's going to feel it because, after all, you completely create a target. And that's exactly
that's why we're there. There's an RV park that's about 3 miles down the road away from the refuge, and we have a camp established there with a communications trailer and people monitoring the road on the way in. So the reason that they went to the refuge, I asked Ammon this, because I have a lot of the same questions you're having right now.
Yeah.
The reason was, as the BLM and the federal government take property from the ranchers in that area, they dump it into the refuge. It's the way that the feds are holding land. The refuge keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. A lot of, like we were talking about, the corporation side of it, a lot of that's starting to come out now. There's ties to some uranium company through Canada with Russian interest.
Yeah.
All ties back to Hillary Clinton. And I was looking at that, and I haven't had a real good chance to, dive into it and see how much is true. I do know that there's a lot of uranium under the Hammonds' property.
Wow.
So that was all in geological tests back from the 90s. A lot of uranium, a lot of gold, a lot of minerals under their property.
Yeah.
But and that's all that property down in through there. So as they pick up that property, they drop it into this refuge, and it becomes this federal holding bank of land. And so, that was their thought process behind the refuge and taking it and changing it into the Harney County Natural Resources Center. Ammon has the plan, and I don't, like I said, I don't agree with how it went. This facility, they could shut off the power if they want. There's generators with big natural gas tanks. The ranchers in the community out there have really gotten behind him. There's people, ranchers and people in general from all over the West now really taking note of what they're trying to accomplish in Harney County. I think the community as a whole is pretty split because of what you were talking about, a lot of them having interest in the government. But the ones that have interest in the government, they don't necessarily think differently. They're just scared to talk about it. And so
I understand. It's the only question, we could have brought up. I mean, I don't want to try to bring people down because, I respect everybody who's doing something. The only thing sometimes, we got to better do less and do it right than do something that then is going to break down or somehow almost destroy the good that we have done. Because, all of us that we came down last year to try to put out, expose the situation, try to stand with this family. I think somehow we're all involved. And indirectly, we did some good. Now, it breaks my heart. I want to speak very honestly. If this is going to turn down to something that, unfortunately, I don't see any other way out, because according to what Ammon says or Finicum says, that they're not going to go to jail. It almost seems like they're looking for martyrdom, or they're looking for some sort of Alamo-style exit, okay? And that's not going to bring anything good to anybody, because the focus is not going to be anymore the corruption and all the things, unconstitutional things they've done, but it's going to be like penning down like a bunch of rebels that they broke the law and they broke in some facility and didn't want to get out. That's the way the media, they're going to pen it out, and that's the way on the book is going to be. So I'm very concerned. And I tell you, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what type of special ace Ammon may have. But from outside, I must be very honest. I'm the first one to support when support is due. But when I see things that they make no sense, as much as I understand there are a lot of corruption, these documents, they're very important to be discovered. But we could have done the discovery in a different way. Especially now, I mean, I don't know. It's I don't see 10,000 people surrounding that facility. I see still 25 people. A few of you guys from Idaho that have a good heart and wants to be there, try to diffuse. At the same time, you got families too, and you realize that after all, they know that you are there. And if you got 20 people, they may have 200 people. That's the reality. I don't want to sound like negative, because I'm always positive, but this is the reality. Don't you think this is what's really going on?
The reality of the situation is it's a very volatile situation,
yeah.
And that's true. it could go anyway. And so let me tell you a little bit about the security operation.
Yes, please, give us details. Thank you. No, don't give too much details unless you want to. I mean, don't forget it. We are not the only one listening.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
We are there with the PPN, the Pacific Patriot Network.
Okay.
And that's a network that came together after the Sugar Pine Mine operation in Oregon that we did at the beginning of the year. All the leadership of the different organizations that came together to pull that off kind of got together and said, okay, well, let's be ready for the next one, and let's kind of talk about what that might look like. And so the PPN is heading up the operation as far as the actual operation. And we've got a bunch of groups that are under that umbrella, the Oregon Constitutional Guard, the Oregon 3%, the Josephine County Oath Keepers, bunch of groups. But what we're doing is we've got people coming in from all over now. There's actually been people coming in from all over, and we'll leave it at that. But the security operation is rotating. Anybody that does want to get involved in that can contact us through, Facebook is the easiest way, as always. Just send us a message, and we'll put you in the right contact and get you out there. And what we're doing is patrolling. We're looking for those agent provocateurs. We're looking at situations like that. We're talking to the community, trying to make people comfortable enough to come forward with some of these things they are coming forward with, and it is working. But we do the basic security operation is making sure that there is no Waco situation.
Exactly.
And we're gonna do that by documenting everything that happens, and we won't be stopped from documenting.
If I can, happens. My personal at this point, just from outside, for what I heard, what I've seen, what I pray, what could be probably the most powerful thing to diffuse all this, is to have as many bodies on the ground, as many people there, regular people. I'm not even talking about members of the militia. I'm just talking about regular Americans that they want to go there, bring their own video camera as witnesses. Because I tell you, unfortunately, when there are not enough people and the federal government is being proven like they can, operate without witnesses, that's the worst thing happens. I mean, let's not forget. I mean, the Ruby Ridge situation was a crime, and the federal government had to pay to the family of Mr. Weaver. They shot cold blood a woman, a mother holding a baby, an infant, for God's sake. I mean, who in insane mind would do that? Okay, think about it. When they have no witnesses around, that's what they've been doing. They shot a little child, like a little teenager, I think it was 12 or 13 years old, a little kid with his dog while he was running. They shot him in the back, for God's sake, if I will remember. I was even in the country. I studied this when I was in Italy. So the story is, this is not the only first time. So I'm really concerned.
No, it's not.
I pray for everybody's going to be safe. I want the safety of the agents. I want the safety of you guys, and of course everybody in that refuge. But the only way we can do now, in my opinion, we need to have media there. We need to have regular people going there, bring their video cameras, just be part of independent media and be witness. And I think probably that would be the way that we can maybe have some sort of civility, keeping it peaceful. I hope. That's all I can pray.
Yeah. That's the answer that we see is to get as many eyes on the situation as possible. Keep everybody talking about what's going on. Keep the community moving forward. Don't let them get bogged down with the media sensationalization of the whole thing. And that's what we're trying to accomplish.
I just, we will see. I mean, I want to keep talking about this. I know probably for the average person say, you know what, I don't live in Oregon. I don't care. Guess what, guys? This is going to happen everywhere. And I give you some news. Because I tell you, I received a letter in the mail that, in Apache County, I got some properties there, Arizona. The Hopi Indians, they are claiming rights over the Little Colorado River. That means through the federal government, of course. The federal government is using the Indians like an excuse. There is a lawsuit. They were trying to claim water rights. That means in the near future, if they win this suit, that means that everybody living in rural Arizona, in that area, Navajo County, Apache County, just an example, this one, whoever owns a well, you may find out one morning that you have at your gate probably an agent from the federal government say, you got to put a well meter because you have to pay now water by the gallon because this is not your water. And this is exactly their plan. What they're doing, they're trying to enforce Agenda 21, Agenda 2030. They need to find all these excuses through the different eco-fascist groups or the different type of, treaties or water rights, whatever they can find a way to keep us out. That's the point. So I say, please, listeners, don't just think this is an Oregon problem. This is not just an Idaho problem. This is going to be a problem, all of us. We need to be involved because now they're coming after every one of us. Look what's happening in New Mexico, in Texas, in Arizona. They try to put out these, wildlife animals super status of you cannot even, there is a wolf attacking your cows. You got to stay there and give him also a coffee after you finish. I mean, this is a crazy scenario. No, seriously, they are put in a situation that we are the slaves. And if you walk over a turtle, oh, sorry, little turtle, you get a fine and you get arrested. I mean, I'm not kidding. A rock is more valuable and more value than a human life, according to these psychopaths. That's what they're trying to do. And that's an excuse. We know that, but it doesn't matter. They will do it. So today happened to the Hammonds. Yesterday happened to the Bundys. Tomorrow can happen to us. That's why I want to come here and bring on this show as much as I can this awareness and try to learn also from mistakes. Because don't get me wrong, I don't want to hear past judgments on others, but I think we must be constructive and also in a friendly way. We must try to say what we like and what we don't like, what went right and what we went wrong. In my opinion, this one, as much as it was a big media brouhaha, I mean, I don't know if you saw, there was also a little video game made in Taiwan. Did you see that one? The video game?
No.
Oh my God. I mean, there was this is like a video game of Hammond and all the other one like making fun of them made in Taiwan while like we're dancing, like a militia dancing. I mean, it's almost amazing. The front cover of Rolling Stone. I mean, articles everywhere, NBC. But the point is, what type of image they're giving? They're destroying the image. They are controlling the media, and that's what they do, these bastards. They first try to, like they did with the Davidians, they first transforming in monsters. When the public opinion is tired, then they attack. That's where they unleash the dogs. And I tell you, we've done an incredible job the last year and a half. Now, I'm telling you, this one, I just pray is going to be diffused and somehow it's going to end in a peaceful way. But I don't like the way it is right now. I don't really like it at all. And that's all I can say. But it's happening.
I don't disagree with anything you've said, really. I mean, the possibility for to make us all look bad is really high. And there is just some really silly stuff going on out there right now too. But like you said, they're trying to vilify us, and that's what they're going to do.
You know what is said, Eric? You can see the situation. There are like about 20, 25 of them. They're regular people. I mean, they are not like G.I. Joes or Rambos, okay? Grandfather, fathers, I mean, workers. There are a couple of veterans, bless their hearts. But the point is, if they want to take their place, they would take it in 5 minutes, okay? And there would be a complete bloodshed. Because unfortunately, I see there is something that I don't like to talk. I keep my religion for myself. But I heard too many times now, when I follow the Bundys, I didn't follow for the religious belief. I follow for the Constitution and the rule of law, okay? And that's it. But when I start to hear Angel Moroni and, we're going to die and all this stuff, I'm sorry. It seems like you start to create like your own reality that not necessarily everybody must follow. I have that from outside without being there. When I hear Finicum talking, I hear like somebody wants to die. And I don't think that's the right approach. First of all, I don't want to die. I want my enemy to die, number one. And I don't want even to them to die. I don't want anybody to die here. We should be doing this in a smart way. But I'll tell you, I see the mindset is kind of scary because they're not going to go down. I really believe they're serious. Hammond is serious, and Finicum is serious, and so all the others, at least most of them, they're not going to give up. And when they find you with a gun in your hands, they already have the excuse. After the interviews I heard on NBC, Finicum, they give him all the excuses to being shot on sight. Even if he would never probably shoot somebody, because it seems like a piece of cake guy. I mean, it seems like a decent man. But still, you know, they don't care. They have an excuse. They have you on record. You won't surrender. You have a weapon in your hand. Even if it's not, there is no round in the chamber, they shoot you. You think am I too extreme, or maybe there's some truth here?
No, that's we are all very worried that if they go that way, because I don't think they're not gonna go by force. I know that so here there's people showing up to help him, and he's steadily getting volunteers too.
We'll see. We'll see.
But I agree with everything you're saying, and let's get back to the point of the matter, which is Agenda 21. What you were saying. What I said. The first thing I said to the community of Harney County when I was at the first community meeting when I spoke there was I told them I'm from a place that looks just like this, except it's in Idaho, and we're all affected the same way, and we're your neighbors, and we're here to help, and that's really what it has to be now. It really has to be all for one and one for all.
Yes.
When these situations occur, and that's why I have to keep going back to, there's a lot of risk here, but and there's a lot of parts of the situation that I don't agree with, and but nonetheless, this is Agenda 21, and they are trying to implement something nefarious, and it's fascism. When you said earlier the fascism, the reason I keep involving myself is I had no idea about the Harry Reid stuff and everything when I drove down to Nevada. I just knew that they were tasing people in the streets, and there was such force there that something had to be done, and we went to protest, and we went to see, and I didn't know it was going to go that way. But after it was all said and done, and all that information came out, and you could see the blatant fascism of the corporations and the government, I knew that anything like this had to have the same thing going on in one way or another. And sure enough, as we're getting involved and the situations are becoming bigger and more people are investigating, you've got this company and the uranium and everything else, and another foreign interest, this time Russia, another politician, family, this time the Clintons. It's always the same thing, and it's fascism, and it's raw, and it's naked, and it's aggressive, and it's fascism, and we have to all come together and stand as Americans and as neighbors and say we're not going to let the bureaucracies terrorize our neighbors.
If I can say something, Eric, by the way, listeners, you're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luke at Zanna, and this is Eric J. Parker from the Idaho 3%ers. We're talking about what's happening in Burns, Oregon, and if I learned something out of this, something that now we should probably improve ourselves and prepare. First of all, I realized that now more than ever, there is no more excuse to procrastinate in every community, in every county, even in every city, everywhere, every neighborhood. You should start to create right now a committee of safety. Call it like-minded people who believe in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, that we want to stand together and start to stand for each other locally. I mean, it's we don't need to have people driving. I mean, if extra people wants to come and help from other states, that's great. But we should have already now the opportunity to prepare groups who understand what's going on, who understands the tyranny of Agenda 21 and global taxation and global government and this redistribution of our resources, and prepare now to have stand, first of all, legally, because when we can unite, for example, I tell you, we received this letter from this lawsuit, many of us in Apache County. The good thing also came to the, one of the letters was served also to the Apache County supervisor, our supervisor. And the first thing he did, you know, the guy is a good guy, he understands Agenda 21. He called the county attorney, and we are trying now to go through the county attorney and go through the state. What the heck do they want? At the same time, we need to have a B plan. We need to start to stand for each other and organize, because the moment that they come and the fascists, they will come at our gates and say, you slave, you must now, you will be charged by the gallon because the water belongs now to the federal government or whatever they want to claim to. Guess what? That's why we make our stand. And that's why I think when they trespass in our property, they are the one trespassing, and we have the more duty to resist. But we don't want to, in my opinion, we want to learn from that. We don't want to go and start to invade their place, so they have the excuse that we are breaking the law. That's one thing I learned out of this, in my humble opinion. But we got to prepare, that's for sure. I give you the floor, the last 2 minutes, Eric.
Well, I'd like to keep going with what you're saying right there and preparing. You know, all the Bundy stuff aside, what we've got now is all eyes on the situation, and there's communities all across the West paying attention to Harney County. And what we are trying to do there is exactly what you said. The safety committee has been established. They have elected a citizen grand jury. And now what the third part of that we've attempted and just here last weekend is to build the local chapter of the tent. Mm-hmm. And we had a meeting there they're actually going to call it the Tri-County, the Oregon Tri-County 3%, and it's Harney County and then 2 other counties right there, John Bay area, and another one, I think Malheur County.
Okay.
And there was a meeting with members from those counties, and we really showed them what we've done in Idaho and tried to give them a plan and a base of for the ability to build an organization, and so that they can be the third part of what is needed in that scenario of the safety committee, which is the enforcement, mm-hmm. which is you know, the media wants to call it the militia, and back in 1776, that's what it was called, was the militia. But we all know that it's just the people, and people willing to defend the constitutional rights of their community. So we really worked on that last weekend, and that's starting to be put in place and starting to come around, and we're going to bring them into the security operation and let them see how this is, kind of give them a little bit of an education on how they can do this on their own. You know, that's what we try to do every time we get involved anywhere, get the community involved and have them set up, and so that we don't have to leave to come.
Exactly.
You know, like you're saying.
We need to be, you know, spread the knowledge. You want to teach them how to fish, but they cannot always fishing for them. That's the bottom line. You got family, you got your neighborhood, you got your community to take care. And sometimes, you know, we can lead, but they need to lead themselves. Listen, I want to commend you for all you've done. I mean, this is a lot of efforts. I can imagine just barely, you know. It's cold, it's winter, it's snow, probably driving. It's kind of a hell. And gas money. I mean, why you got to keep your rent going, you know, your mortgage, and your wife worry about all this. I mean, there's so much, you know, you're doing more than many other people do, and humbly all I can do is try to share what you're doing, and I hope other people can take note here. This is happening. It's a new America with a K, and I tell you, it's not pretty, because this is just the beginning, and they're coming down, so we gotta prepare. Thank you, Eric. Please keep me posted if there is anything going on, okay?
Absolutely.
Very good. Guys, you're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom. We'll look at Zanna, a little bit of a song I dedicate to all the 3%ers and all the good people around the country, not just in Idaho or Oregon. We're standing for America in our Constitution. La, 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 la. La 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 la
our blood, they're stealing our lives away. If we are too busy, or we're too afraid, we're already lost our soul. We're already their slaves. Now is the time to stand for our rights. Now is the time to pray and fight. Fight! Revolution, rebirth of a nation. Now it's our time to show who we really are. Revolution, a peaceful solution, but we're not afraid to stand for what is right. The day will come when we'll all be gone. What are we waiting for? Let's live with honor. Let's go, they've pushed our limits. Where's our pride? Are we already dead? Or are we still alive? Look at the mirror, go find your soul. You are the answer now. You go! Revolution, rebirth of a nation. Now it's our time to show who we really are. Revolution, a peaceful solution, but we're not afraid to stand for what is right. Revolution, rebirth of a nation. Now it's our time. Peaceful solution, we're not afraid to stand for what is right. Revolution, rebirth of a nation. Now it's our time to show who we really are. Revolution, a peaceful solution, we're not afraid.
That was the song called Revolution, music lyrics by myself. The first part of the show was recorded just a day before all this mess happened, all this drama, all these terrible things happen in Oregon. I was talking with my friend Eric J. Parker, and we were talking exactly about this potential scenario. And we all know now how it ended up. Mr. LaVoy Finicum is being killed. And I don't say killed, I think he's being murdered. This is my humble opinion according to my eyes connecting to my brain. I would like to, every one of you listeners, you can go to my website, lovegunsfreedom.com. There is on the homepage, short video. You can see the sequence of an event. You can see this video from the drones, of the FBI drone, and you can see how this man getting out of the car with a hand raised, raising his hand, surrendering. He was shot first from the first officer. I don't know if it was a state trooper or FBI. We don't know yet. And then, of course, after you get shot, your instinct is to bring your hands down towards your belly. You will see that. He wasn't charging anybody. He was walking about in 3 feet of snow. And regardless where you stand on this issue, regardless if you don't believe in his stance on the BLM or grazing rights or whatever, even if this guy, first of all, every one of us deserved due process. He wasn't guilty of anything yet, okay? So he was still an innocent man. That's the bottom line. More important now, we need to look at somebody that surrendering for an arrest, and he gets shot cold blood in the face and left on the ground die. He was left on the ground die. Few minutes, at least 10 minutes. I mean, this is serious. This is serious. Can happen now to any one of us. It must be an investigation. It must be, you know, if the guy was black and maybe was in Baltimore, now you would have the whole town and the whole country marching on the streets, or maybe, you know, revolting or burning or whatever. Okay? The president would have been now, Mr. Obama would have been screaming from the White House. So far, nothing. So far, nothing. This guy is treated like a pig. He was killed like a pig. And I will go now in the second hour in more details, analyzing also this video. And he's unprofessional on top. I wouldn't give him a slingshot to these officers. To shoot not only like that to somebody that's surrendering, but also shooting a crossfire. I mean, that was the most pathetic things I've seen and said. And I'm sorry, I wish I were wrong. I wish I were wrong. When we said that, I said that the first day after the occupation. This is not the right way to do it. This was going to be just bring a bad ending. But regardless, now we need to focus also on what they've done to one human being, LaVoy Finicum. Okay, you're listening to Love, Guns and Freedom with Luca Zanna. Please don't go away, stay tuned. And there is more going on. You know, we've been happy. Something's going to happen even more. The show is not over. Okay, right now this is the final part recorded on Friday. There is still something happening there in Oregon. But for now, this is the update I can give you. Ready for our number 2. You're listening to Love, Guns and Freedom with Luca Zanna. Don't go away. Stay tuned.